it takes big strides forward in terms of equipment, in terms of functionality, and also in terms of drivability. It is gigantic. Does it need to be so big? Hey everyone, welcome back to Sgcarmart Reviews. So, back when the original BMW 2 Series Active Tourer was first launched in Singapore, it proved to be a big hit, and there were a couple of reasons for this. Right? So first, it was a brand new segment for the brand, and it gave customers additional practicality and functionality. Second, it was a diesel, so that meant it was cheaper to run, and you could go further on a single tank. But perhaps most importantly, back when it was first launched, it was relatively cheap. Right, so back in maybe 2017-18, where COE was a much more reasonable 30 to 40 grand, you could conceivably get a 280 for something like $120,000. Now, we have the brand new second generation model. I've actually driven 3 different variants of this car in Spain, but not this particular 218i variant. However, one thing I can guarantee you, it won't be 120 grand. Did you know that you could be losing up to $5,000 in value when you trade in your car? So for example, if you're thinking about trading in your car to buy this BMW 2 Series Active Tourer, try selling your car with Quotz instead. Quotz uses its network of dealers to get the best price possible for your car. In fact, they're so confident in getting you the best price possible that if you sell your car for a better price, they will give you $100. Don't just take our word for it, look at the hundreds of raving reviews on their service. To find out more, visit quotz.com.sg, that is QUOTZ.com.sg. Now, let's get back to the review. Design-wise, I do think that this new 280 looks much better than before, and a big part of that is the fact that it looks more hatch-like than van-like. So with the way the A-pillars have been much more heavily rigged and just the overall design of the car, I wouldn't be surprised if people may mistake this for a 1 Series hatchback right now. So at the front, we also have a much bigger kidney grille, and in this particular instance, I actually think it works quite well to help to disguise the overall size of the car, and that's because of the ratio of the body sheet metal with the kidney grille, which obviously is a smaller ratio than before. The car is also bigger than before, but the design actually helps to visually mask that fact. Now let's go check out the back of the car. Now, as far as boot space is concerned, here we have a 470 litre boot. So it's a pretty decent sized boot. We can easily fit a big luggage, but it will not, unfortunately, pass the anti-trolley length test. So one cool thing about this car is the rear seats can be slid forward 13 cm, so you can very quickly expand boot capacity. And if you really need a big hauling space, you can flip down the rear seats and you get a total of 1,455 litres of space. Now let's go check out the inside of the car. The BMW 2 Series Active Tourer is priced from $232,888 to $235,888. The 1.5-litre turbocharged engine produces 134 brake horsepower and 230 Nm of torque. The 7-speed DCT transmission brings the car from 0 to 100 km/h in 9 seconds. For more details on the BMW 2 Series Active Tourer or any other car, head on to sgcarmart.com to help you make the smart choice on your next car. Here in the rear of the 280, you can see that space is plenty. So this is my standard driving position, and I have tons of legroom and a decent amount of headroom as well. And as previously mentioned, these seats can be slid forward 13 cm. So even in the maximum forward position, I can still sit fairly comfortably. I don't feel necessarily cramped in any way. Now, as far as equipment is concerned, we have aircon vents as well as 2 USB-C ports for your charging needs and a little sort of storage area here. And we also have ISOFIX points as well as 2 cup holders here. Now, if I slide onto the middle seat, it is a little bit on the narrow side, but then again, this is a compact class car. But because of the transmission tunnel being relatively low and there's this indentation, I can actually tuck my size 10 feet in fairly comfortably, so I think this car will quite comfortably fit 3 adults at the rear. Also, on this particular launch edition model, you get a very sizable panoramic sunroof as well. Now let's go check out the front of the car. Obviously here in the front of the 280, the biggest upgrade is this new curved display. So this is the curved display that was first seen in the BMW iX, but now you get it in, what is conceivably a compact class car, which is, meant to be accessible, affordable, but with this, it really adds a sense of quality and classiness and, a tad bit of luxury into this car. And of course, it runs operating system 8, so you get a ton of modern functionality. You have the latest nav features, you have wireless Apple CarPlay, you have weather, you have your intelligent personal assistant. So there's a ton of functionality in this system. Also, we get this new steering wheel, and as a result, you can very quickly adjust some of the features on this digital display, things like your content, your layout, and even the head-up, what's on the head-up display. In the center console, we have this now floating center console thing, and it's nice, it's neat. It's cool in the sense that it then creates a lot of space down here where you can put things like your wallet, your phone, whatsoever. One thing I must say is that this new center console now, you don't get a rotary controller, and for my personal liking, I would have liked to have a tactile way of controlling the infotainment system, because if not, what you have now is that you actually really need to be touching the screen quite a lot or use voice control. And that's fine when you're stationary, but I think when driving, I would have liked to have a rotary dial. One other thing, you can tell this is a left-hand drive conversion because your center cubby hole opens the wrong way. We have two USB-C charging ports, so obviously this is discriminatory to people who are dinosaurs and use USB-A cables like me. One thing that I've always felt a little bit confused about is why is the charging pad so big? So the charging pad is gigantic, and I don't think anyone has a phone this big. So for example, this is JJ's phone, and it's literally the biggest phone I've ever seen in my life. And it still doesn't fill up the entire of the charging pad. So, design choices. As far as materials go, we have a generous amount of leather, and I do like these seats. It's a leather sort of pseudo Alcantara material, and it's nice. It feels premium. Yep, that's it for the interior. Now let's go drive this car. So, powering this 218 variant is a turbocharged 1.5-litre engine that produces 134 brake horsepower and 230 Newton meters of torque. So that's usable performance, right? So 0 to 100 takes 9 seconds. Not super quick, but for all intents and purposes, enough, right? So if you want to overtake, you just put your foot down a little bit and it picks up speed pretty well. Also, overall comfort is pretty good. I like the fact that it's a very easy car to drive, and it actually drives better than before, right? So the chassis is notably more control and taut. So overall, when you're driving this car, it feels a lot more like a hatchback than an MPV, so to speak. And I think additionally, why it feels very easy to drive and a little bit small to drive actually is the fact that overall visibility is very good. So with the way the A-pillars have been raked now, and this additional sort of aperture at the side, the greenhouse that you get is very expansive, and it's just very easy to see out of, and as a result the car doesn't feel very big, which is very nice, right? Which is very convenient as well. It makes it easy to see where you're going. One other cool thing about this particular car is that I think a little bit uncommon in the compact class is that you get some sort of semi-autonomous features. So if you hit the sort of cruise control button, you have assisted driving mode. So what this is obviously it does the braking and accelerating for you. It keeps you at the whatever set speed you have decided. But it also helps steer you through bends, right? So for example, now I'm going through a left bend and the car can actually sort of detect that and then steer through it. So you don't have to do all of the driving input. Obviously, you still need to keep your hand on the wheel, but it just makes things easier when you're feeling tired coming home from work and you don't really want to navigate all of that steering. It will just do it for you, which is nice. One other cool feature that this car has, which I've not seen in many other cars, is something called the augmented reality view. So this comes with the Live Cockpit Professional. And basically what it is that if you set the navigation, the car will use the cameras at the front and will be able to essentially see where you're going, and whenever you're coming up to a junction, coming up to a roundabout, or needing to filter into another lane, the car will actually pull up a live view and it will show you like arrows on which lane you should be, where you should be turning, stuff like that. So if you combine that with the head-up display as well, it really sort of gives you all the directions you need in terms of which lane you should be driving in, how far away your next junction is, stuff like that. So for people who are perhaps not so good at navigating around Singapore, with a car like this, there's absolutely no reason why you should ever get lost. So one thing to note is that this car, being the M Sport variant, it comes with the adaptive M suspension, and if you ask me, I think that's unnecessary. So it drops the ride height a little bit and it makes the overall suspension a little bit firmer, and I just think in a car like this, right, this is just a practical family car. You don't need that kind of sporty aspect to it. But other than that, overall this is a very comfortable, nice car to drive, and I don't really have many complaints about how it feels on the road. So the new BMW 2 Series Active Tourer, is it a will buy, won't buy, or go try? Well, for me, this is a will buy. So, if you are looking for a premium, compact, family-friendly MPV, then this new 280, I think it's a very, very viable choice, right? So compared to its predecessor, it is a big upgrade. It takes big strides forward in terms of equipment, in terms of functionality, and also in terms of drivability. Yeah, the price tag is a little bit, I think it's retailing for 223,000, which seems like a big number because it is a big number. But we all know that, COE prices are where they are. So, every car is just infinitely more expensive than it was 5 years ago. And if you consider where sort of this is pegged against other compact cars, even within the BM range, with your 1 Series and like your 2 Series Grand Coupes, it's pretty much priced more or less around the same sort of marker. And I do think that with this car, you actually do get more car for your money, right? You're getting the sort of latest interior from BMW, you get more space, and overall, I think from a functionality perspective, this does a very good job. In terms of its competition, really right now the only other premium compact sort of MPV in the market is a B-Class, a Mercedes-Benz B-Class, and at least to me, I think the B-Class is a more expensive car, but I think a not as good MPV as well. So yeah, I think the new 280 is a very viable choice for people in this particular market for this car. Is it going to be as popular as the first generation model? I suspect not, and I think a big part of that is just in terms of pricing, right? So the 280 in that sense is no longer just a car where people are just like, oh, I can own a BMW for $120,000, because no BMW is $120,000 anymore. I will say though, if you are really thinking about the new 280, you may want to consider waiting a little while to see if a 216 variant is offered, because that will be a Cat A model, and while it will be down on power, it will be down on price as well. So thanks for watching our review of the new BMW 2 Series Active Tourer, and do let us know what you think about this car in the comment section below. Of course, do also like and subscribe to our channel. I know that 80% of you who are watching aren't subscribed, so please subscribe, and do also hit the notification bell so that you will be notified of all of our upcoming videos. And we're on TikTok, so follow us at Sgcarmart. And that's all I have. I'll see you in the next video. Bye! So, the bread... 3, 2, 1. The sort of let's go again. Boo. In a sense, the whole grill to body, blah, blah.